right, take two. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Say Report Jr., a podcast you should be listening to, subscribe to, and downloading every single week. I am one of your hosts, Dale Decker.
And I'm your other host, Zach Saroway.
That cough
all of that energy built right into that cough.
It did, and I apologize for that. But you know what? That's what happens.
I said it too fast. Go back. What happened was I had to go back and start rewriting Dale's memories so that she thought I was actually someone else for a little while because evil plans, but also I'm kind of lonely. I'm getting to Kingdom Hearts here, everybody. I promise this is a bit. Oh my God. I'm not kidding. That's a plot line. Okay, so welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. They don't know what happened.
We actually say Say Report Jr.? Did we say that yet? We did, because we said our names.
Yes,
okay.
We said our names. They don't know what happened, so welcoming them back is weird.
I mean, honestly, it's like if you are someone who only ever played Kingdom Hearts and then Kingdom Hearts 2, you are having the same exact feelings and concept of time and continuity that those players would have, because Square Enix doesn't. I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, before we get into this, I need to share because of this whole thing. I need to share that your texts regarding Kingdom Hearts 2 have so far been some of my favorite texts.
I guess you're watching my brain. I'm going to explain how I played through all these, but talk about the text first, because then I have to explain the weird way that I have experienced Kingdom Hearts in the last week.
Okay, so your text being read to me through Siri is the funniest thing, especially when it's regarding Kingdom Hearts, because I feel like Kingdom Hearts has been messing with you, for a while, for almost 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks, a week.
Just
when did you start
about a
playing?
week. I think last week is when I picked up the collection.
But nothing screams this game is messing with my brain than Siri saying, "Hold on, hold the fuck on," and then proceeding to say, "I just played 5 hours of KH2 and just got a title card, and it was only the prologue. What the hell is this game?"
Best part is I didn't even tell you the best part of that, which is that after that title card, I changed characters.
Oh yeah,
it was a prologue with
a
completely different character.
Well, because Kingdom Hearts 2, have you finished Kingdom Hearts 2? Because I know spoily things.
I haven't finished Kingdom Hearts 2. I know a little bit about where the story goes, but I have gotten through that opening and started replaying with Sora, the character from Kingdom Hearts 1. But because I know about Chain of Memories and 358 over 2 days, I do actually have an understanding of what's going on and why the characters changed and all of that.
Wait. Is Kingdom Hearts 2 with Aqua?
No.
Oh, never mind. I know nothing.
Maybe later. Here's the thing. I've already changed characters once. Maybe I'll come across them again. Aqua is actually a character I haven't come across yet. But
that might be another.
There's 2 other games after this, and by games I mean 3-hour cutscene things. Oh my!
No,
I'm so mad at this franchise.
Maybe it is Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know. Forget I said anything, because I don't know what's going on either.
Let me try and break it down and explain it. So, I think I mentioned on last week's episode. Did I mention? Was it last week's episode that I mentioned I bought the package?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So I've got basically everything up until Kingdom Hearts 3, which comes out in 3 days.
6 days. My friend has been giving me the breakdown.
The 28th? Oh, it's the 28th, isn't it? Or whatever. I don't know what day it is anymore either. You know what? Resident Evil 2 comes out tomorrow, and it's throwing off my timeline.
Nice.
January is not supposed to have good games, and there's 2 coming in a week. Spoiler alert, I also just called Kingdom Hearts a good game.
I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something, and then I've decided just to let it lie. I just decided to let it go.
let me kind of very briefly explain the Kingdom Hearts franchise and the games. Now that I've played them more and have kind of an understanding of what's going on, better breakdown of what's going on, and just like the meta level of how Kingdom Hearts games get released, because this whole franchise blows my mind out of just the weirdness of their continuity. So, as I mentioned last week, Kingdom Hearts 1, very simple, though with a convoluted plot, very simple game, which is someone's basically breaking up a bunch of worlds in a bunch of different dimensions, and you have to go travel through the different kingdoms that are all Disney levels and stop them from doing that. Fairly simple concept.
Yeah.
So, after Kingdom Hearts comes out, for Game Boy Advance, they put out Chain of Memories, which is a card-based RPG in which Sora, the character, picking up literally the moment that Kingdom Hearts ends, Sora and Mickey still hasn't shown up yet, Goofy and Donald and Sora go running into a castle that starts erasing their memories. And all of a sudden, first off, the fact that this was on Game Boy Advance, the first Kingdom Hearts game came out on PlayStation 2. The fact that like they expected people who owned a PlayStation 2 to also be people who owned a Game Boy Advance is fucking mind-blowing. Because those are not usually an overlapping group. Unless you're me. I'm the type of person that would own these things.
It's kind of also like a step backwards, it seems.
Like graphically, yes.
Not just graphically. Like everything.
Yeah, like the way that the combat works in this game, and the reason I didn't bother fucking finishing it, I just watched, literally, I spent 3 hours yesterday just watching the cutscenes from this, so I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
Of Chain of Memories?
Of Chain of Memories.
Gotcha.
Was because, like, they were like, okay, so here's the idea. Every move you make is now based on a card that you have in a deck, and Goofy and Donald aren't even there anymore. They're cards in this deck, and you're slowly losing your memories through every room of this castle you go into. So Sora is slowly losing memories of all of these characters you were introduced to in Kingdom Hearts, and then there's all these new people that are introduced that are definitely like, I don't know how many of them are Final Fantasy characters, but they're definitely anime characters. Like, the Disney is slowly being ripped out of this game. And these people are showing up. They're part of some secret organization. A couple of them are trying to take down this secret organization from within, but they don't really explain what this organization is or why. And all of a sudden, Sora starts forgetting this major character from Kingdom Hearts called Kairi, who lived on, like, the island he's originally from. And it's like, yeah. So Kairi's like, right. So he starts forgetting Kairi, and all of a sudden starts replacing her in his head and his memories with this girl called Naminé. And it turns out that Naminé is a witch who is just replacing herself in his memories because she's lonely living in the castle, being used by this organization for this takeover that's going on. Right. Like, what are you doing?
Yep. So
Kingdom Hearts.
So you're playing it in chronological order, right? Not necessarily in year release date?
Yeah, there's the problem. This is release order is Kingdom Hearts on PS2.
Yes.
Chain of Memories on Game Boy Advance. Then Kingdom Hearts 2 comes out on PS2 again.
Yep.
And the opening 5 hours, the reason that I was like freaking out is that the opening 5 hours of this game, you are playing someone from Organization 13.
Yep.
And you're getting a bunch of cutscenes and memory flashes and a bunch of stuff that makes no sense even for Chain of Memories. Like, this is stuff that didn't even come up in that. So if you're someone who completely skipped Chain of Memories and went Kingdom Hearts to Kingdom Hearts 2, you have no idea what's going on in this game. You got a bunch of characters, a bunch of like Final Fantasy characters in black robes running around, and no explanation about who they are or why. And then after Kingdom Hearts 2 comes out, they re-release Chain of Memories on PS2 with all of these updated graphics, and now it's a 3D game. It's the same exact game, but they release it after Kingdom Hearts 2, which means that they basically were like, okay, so we get that you played Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts 2 confused the hell out of you, so allow us to re-release this game that kind of explains some stuff. Oh, and also, we're going to release this game called 358 over 2 days, which is a DS game which fills in the rest of the random crap we threw in at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2 that we never explained.
That's with what's his? He's like
that's Roxas.
Roxas, yeah, okay.
Yes, and that is with who is the character you're playing
Axel
at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roxas, Axel.
I know that story.
Like all of these characters. Yeah, that's how Kingdom Hearts 2 opens. It has nothing. What are you talking about?
They love sea salt ice cream. That's all I need to know.
Oh my god! I'm playing this game, and the fact that 358 over 2 days came way later on DS of all things is the thing that's even more mind blowing. Because on the Kingdom Hearts collection that I bought, it is Kingdom Hearts, and then Chain of Memories, and then 358 over 2 days, and then Kingdom Hearts 2. And that is the only reason that I have followed anything.
Okay. So that's how you've played it. Yeah.
And that's the direction that I played things. And by played, that's generous. Because when 358 over 2 days was brought from DS onto this collection, they didn't actually bring any gameplay.
Yeah,
because as you very, very astutely pointed out, you can't really take a DS game which has 2 screens and transport it to the PS4 very easily. No. So what they do is they play a cutscene, and then at a scene where there would be gameplay, they just put up a picture and a paragraph explaining what the fighting was going on during the gameplay sequence, and then they go to another cutscene, and they just do that. That's how they do it.
I didn't know about that.
So it's a cutscene, and then it's like a picture would come up of like Roxas and Axel, and then a bunch of text comes up that says Axel teaches Roxas how to use his Keyblade, and he goes on to teach him how to use magic and all this other training, and they defeat these many Heartless, and then they move on, and then cutscene again, and it does that for 3 hours.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, no, it's so it's weird too that they finally released a version of Kingdom Hearts in chronological order, that you can play in chronological order. 'Cause as I've said before, all of my knowledge from Kingdom Hearts comes from my friend Joe. And he played Kingdom Hearts the way they came out. So
Joe has the brain of a computer, because I don't know how he figured it out or kept it all in his head.
The amount of times he's played these games too, he has played them over and over and over again. So of course he knows the story, and everything I know from it is from him. And there's times where he'll tell me something, and I'm like, hold on, you gotta go back for a second. Explain that again. And then he'll throw something in that he didn't mention before, but somehow makes it make sense. And I'm like, got it. I'm with you. I got you. I am on board. And then he'll continue telling me the story, and there's still stuff I don't know. There's still things that I'm how does that connect here?
Reading, I had to read Wikipedia breakdowns of the plot for the 2 smaller games, and then I still went back and watched the cutscenes and stuff. And I'm vaguely understanding what's going on, which is that Organization 13 is a group of people who were born without hearts, and so they all have other people with hearts that they coincide with, and they have to kind of find them and connect with them. And so Roxas is the other half of Sora.
Oh, okay, good. So you know that. I was gonna say I know who Roxas is,
right?
And I kind of know who Axel is, and I know about.
So I don't know who Axel is. I know who Ansem is, and I know who. I know Ansem and I know Roxas as far as Organization 13 people are concerned. Yeah. Everything else makes no sense to me right now.
And it's I knew about Organization 13. I know so much about these characters, and I'm but I don't know why or how I'm understanding any of this.
Yeah. And then I'm and at the same time I'm playing all of this and then I want to go back and play more. Why do I want to play more of this? This doesn't make any sense to me. The fighting is not that good in this game, and yet I want to sit down for another 4 hours and play another chunk of this game.
Because the world is good, because it draws you in.
Pete showed up.
For me,
and he's
it didn't draw me in. For me, it didn't draw me in because of that fucking race that you have to do.
Oh man, you can just lose that race. You don't actually have to win that
race.
But
I wanted to name the boat.
They wouldn't let. Yeah,
I know.
I got stuck with Highwind a bunch of times.
Oh, it sucks. No,
I
mean, like I said, I do like. There is a big part of me that wants to go back and play Kingdom Hearts, but it's just I don't know if I can commit to it. Like I can commit to watching cutscenes, but I don't know if I can commit to sitting down and playing the game.
It's so weird because on the sci-fi level of it, of time travel and memory, which is shit I love.
That's me
it
too.
It scratches so much of an itch.
Yes.
We're not that whole thing of Chain of Memories. The story of Chain of Memories is fascinating. I never want to play it because playing it is horrendous. But I love that story of oh, okay, so he's going through this castle, and every time he goes through another room of this castle, he loses more of his memory, and it turns out it's because this girl is being used by this organization for some sort of basically corporate takeover.
Yeah.
Because they need Roxas out of Sora, but they can't get to him unless she erases part of his memory, and she's willing to do that because she's lonely. And it's this is great. I love all of this. Please don't make me play this bad card game you've created. It's a bad game.
If it was ever, and I'm sure it exists, but if ever the story of Kingdom Hearts, the cutscenes or the story was ever turned into let's say a series, I would be right there. I would watch it because I do love the things I know about the characters I really love, and the things that that I don't know too much about I want to find out about. But it's I just need if Netflix was hey, we're gonna turn Kingdom Hearts into a television show, but we're just gonna use the cutscenes.
The fact that they haven't
announced it.
The fact that it hasn't announced for the new Disney streaming app, I'd pay for that. Are you kidding me? I would pay to watch the Kingdom Hearts show.
But I don't want Kingdom Hearts fans to somehow get shafted. I want it to just be the cutscenes from the games, because knowing how this would go, it would get ruined probably for them.
Oh my
God,
I don't
want that to happen.
I've seen the Final Fantasy movies, and Square Enix cannot be trusted to make their own products into movies.
So,
yes.
So if someone could just sit down, someone in the world, someone could just sit down, take out all the cutscenes, put those in a video, send it my way.
Oh man, so we'll see what happens when this comes out next week. I'm in Kingdom Hearts 2 now. I'm working on it. Yeah. Literally just got to the first. I got to Mulan World, the first world.
Mulan World.
Mulan, the Land of Dragons is what it's called. It's Mulan World. Because the other thing that blows my mind, as they're doing this, is you go into these different worlds and these different universes in Disney, and it's not it's they basically were well, here's the story of Mulan. Now, what if the story of Mulan happened after Goofy and Donald and some random kid dropped in the middle of it? These aren't sequels to the stories. These are the stories are happening as you're there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Which I like. I like that a lot. What was I? Oh. Also, I need to go back because someone is definitely going to point this out. I understand that there is a video out there with the cutscenes, but I don't think it's all of the cutscenes from every single game. Right?
I watched I watched a 3-hour video of just the cutscenes from Chain of Memories.
Okay, yeah. So
you can do that. I'm sure there are playlists out there and stuff like that. Yeah.
I just have to do it. I'm sure someone's already done all this work for me.
Chain of Memories works for that because literally it's a story cutscene, and then you fight a bunch of stuff, and then a story cutscene, and then you fight a bunch of stuff. It's not like you're in the middle of a fight, you're going to get any sort of pertinent information of what's going on. So that works out perfectly. There's some conversations in Kingdom Hearts that you would, if all you did was watch the cutscenes, you might miss some stuff, but not huge anything. Yeah.
My other thing, and I don't know if I really have it's weird to me that now Pixar is being brought into the mix, and it might have been brought into the mix already, but it's weird that Pixar films are being introduced into Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, actually, and now that I mean, I haven't obviously gotten to all of the worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's no Pixar stuff in 1.
No. I don't think there has been.
Pirates of the Caribbean shows up in 2.
I know that. Which, that's still Disney. That's fine. It's live action. That's Disney.
I actually I think I might have an idea about that. So Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in like 2000. Oh God, I don't even know. Or like before
I don't know.
2010.
Yeah.
So right up until the first Cars came out, Pixar was technically still independent. Cars was basically Cars was made as their last like independent movie before Disney officially bought them.
Yep.
So there's a good chance that the last Kingdom Hearts came out before that happened, which might be why that's the case. This might actually be the first time that a Kingdom Hearts game is coming out when they own Pixar, which is really, really weird because these games take forever to come out.
And that whole thing, I mean, this is going down a whole other rabbit hole of Pixar and Disney and like things being called a Disney Pixar movie but they came out when Pixar was independent, like Toy Story. As far as Toy Story came out when Pixar was its own thing. It was its own company, it was its own animation company, and yet now Toy Story is a Disney movie.
And that's entirely because Toy Story 3 and now Toy Story 4 are like definitive Disney products. Because they own the IP.
To me, Toy Story 1 and 2 are not Disney films.
Right.
So don't include them. Is what I'm trying to get at.
That's the other thing. I have no idea when you get to Toy Story World which Toy Story story they're going to be telling at the time.
Hey,
is the other part to that.
If it's about the scary pink bear, I'm all for it. That's fine. If you have to fight the scary pink bear from Toy Story 3, whatever, cool. But if you have to fight the prospector, not about it.
If you have to fight Kelsey Grammer in a box, I don't want to hear about it.
Exactly. What's the scary pink bear's name? He smells like strawberries.
I honestly don't remember.
Is it Hugs-a-Lot?
It made me so sad I have only watched that movie once. So, I don't remember.
That's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. I think it's Hugs-a-Lot. Final answer. I'm not going to make that my final answer because I will lose big. Anyways. But so it's like sorry.
I was gonna try and cap off Kingdom Hearts. So if you've got anything else to say, say it now.
I was just gonna say Monsters Inc. is apparently gonna show up in Kingdom Hearts 3. And it's like, but that's a Pixar movie. Yeah, okay. Monsters University is technically Disney Pixar. Not technically, it is.
Oh, God. You just reminded me. I had wiped the Goofy monster model out of my head. And now you said it, and now I have to remember that. And now I'm going to have to play it.
With the one-eyed, he's a one-eyed green thing, right?
I think it's the one giant eye and one tiny eye, and then it's oh, God.
I don't know. It's weird to me that Pixar things are starting to be in Kingdom Hearts because it's always been just Disney. I mean, it's like Nightmare Before Christmas is a Disney movie, but it's like Tim Burton presents.
It was a Disney movie after the fact. I think, right? Disney bought it after something. Yeah.
So the fact that exists it's okay. In Kingdom Hearts 2 is what? But it wasn't that. But it didn't start that way.
It's also one of the worst designed levels in the game and sucks. But anyway.
Fair enough.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so bad. Anyway. That's the other thing. I could sit here and I could nitpick everything. There's a Neverland.
I heard it sucks and it makes me really sad because
you're inside the boat. The problem is the camera control in the game is terrible.
Jolly Roger?
And you're on the Jolly Roger the whole time. You only ever go once you go around Big Ben at the end of the level. But the entire Neverland level almost entirely takes place in the boat. And when I say in the boat, I mean in the boat. So you're going up decks and stuff. So it's tiny cramped spaces with a camera that you can't zoom in and out. Oh. So it's a fixed distance that if you go around one of the 1,000 corners around you, the camera jacks back and forth trying to find you. It's
well, what you expect from PS2?
And it's how did someone play this and not go, this is unplayable at times?
Because that's all you had. That is all you had at the time. It's all you had. I made the argument earlier today about Qbert. It's that's all you had to play. That's it. That's it. You had to do it.
So beyond
we are
that,
so spoiled when it comes to video games. Anyways.
Spoiled with our good controls and our cameras that work. Oh man, and our voice actors that don't sound like Siri. Oh, that's the other thing. On top of all of this, did Joe ever tell you who Sora is voiced by?
He might have, but
it's Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah,
it's
okay,
Haley Joel Osment in all of
them, which is fantastic.
Great. Well, what's great about that is that
of Haley Joel Osment this morning.
What's fantastic about that is you play Kingdom Hearts 1, right, in the collection, and then because Rechain of Memories, the like remake, didn't come out until after Kingdom Hearts 2, and all of that, his voice goes up by like 8 years.
Awesome.
So it's like tiny kid Haley Joel Osment in Kingdom Hearts 1, and then Chain of Memories, which takes place literally at the same point where it ends. He goes from like, "Hey Donald, Goofy, let's do this," to "Donald, Goofy, we must go." We have to You're like, "Oh, puberty hit you like a ton of bricks, literally in the doorway."
Beautiful. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, I was just thinking of. Can we talk about Haley Joel Osment for a second?
We can because he blows. It's someone who blows my mind, and his sister. Like the fact that they are they have a weird acting career.
They really do, but they are so good. They are Haley Joel Osment and Emily Osment, right? That's her name.
Yes.
Right? Are
friend from Hannah Montana. That's all I remember.
Fantastic actors, and they just are. They just are. All right, hands down. I'm going to say it right now. Go on record for that.
Did you ever see Tusk?
No.
From Kevin Smith?
Haley Joel Osment in it?
He is. And someone made the best assessment of him in that movie, which is it looks like he grew into Kevin Smith.
Oh my God.
He's like, he still has like his literal child face, but there's like a beard now, just like someone stuck a beard on it, and he's like about the size that Kevin Smith was when he started playing Silent Bob. Like he's like, he's grown a couple of feet and he's gained a lot of weight, and all of a sudden it looks kind of like Kevin Smith when I can't be in this movie, but this kid looks just like me, so I'm gonna stick him to be me in this movie.
This is perfect because it's gonna segue into what I want to talk about. What I did with my week. But Haley Joel Osment, so I feel I want to say my first Emily Osment, I grew up watching her on Hannah Montana. I grew up watching her in Dad Napped, ridiculous movie, but people should watch it because I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix or Hulu or something. But she was in Dad Napped, and then she was like kind of gone. She sang. She did some songs and stuff for Disney because that's what you have to do if you're a Disney Channel kid. And then she was in Young and Hungry.
That's what it was. I was gonna say, didn't she do a show where she was a chef for a little bit?
She was a chef, and oh my God, like all of the memories of like loving, what was Lily on Hannah Montana? Can't believe I remember her name. Loving the character of Lily just like came back. And it was kind of like watching Lily grown up and like left the baggage of Hannah Montana / Miley Stewart. And
this shit is just too crazy for me. I'm out of here.
And before her name was Miley Stewart in the show. I understand her name was Miley Cyrus, but they had to change it for the show. Anyways, but it was kind of
not too much. We had to
not too much. No, we should have changed the last name.
But we just
and we gave her one sibling as opposed to like 5. But yeah, so like Young and Hungry is kind of like watching Lily grown up and like she's so good. And then she was just in like an episode of the Kaminsky Method, and I'm like, I always forget about you, and you are a treasure, and your brother's a treasure too because he was in Entourage, the movie.
Oh
and
my
God!
And
does he steal that movie? Let me tell you, he is so good as like a jackass, like child of a producer jackass.
Oh, is he not playing himself? Is he one of the few people actually playing a character in that movie?
He's actually playing a character in that movie. which is like even better.
Which is great
like,
because
I
feel like in a movie
Haley Joel Osment, but he has to play someone else.
Like a movie full of cameos, and I feel like they called him up and was like, "Yo, we're doing the Entourage movie. Liam Neeson's gonna be in it for like 2 seconds. Ronda Rousey will be here for 2 seconds. Oh, so you want me to come in and make like a joke about The Sixth Sense or something?" It's like, no, we actually need you for like a couple of days.
Yeah. But like he has that beard, and he's so perfect at playing a jackass. And it's like, oh my God, because you look at him, you don't think he has an evil bone in his body.
I don't think his face has grown with the rest of his body.
Like it's so like, what's the word? It's like so misleading. Like he is like I think of Haley Joel Osment, and I think he can do no harm. And like I shouldn't say that, but I
just
do.
Look at him and it's like, oh, he's a sweet boy.
Yeah.
Look at this sweet boy.
So like because I never had seen Sixth Sense. I don't think I still haven't. And so I don't really know him from that. I just know he's the kid in it, and I've seen the scene a whole bunch of times. But it's like,
okay.
What?
I just don't understand how you haven't seen Sixth Sense. But honestly, I say that, and yet you are not the first person in the last week that I have heard make that statement, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, it's also I don't generally watch scary movies. Although,
that's very true.
Although now, I know that it's more of a suspense thriller.
Yes, supernatural. It's it's not a gory horror.
Yeah. I am willing to watch it, you know? It's just there's other movies that come out and it keeps getting pushed back, just like The Shining. It's like I want to see it, but it's gone. It
surprises and doesn't surprise me that The Sixth Sense is its own movie and not part of an 8-movie franchise. Yeah. But fucking Unbreakable is a trilogy now. I don't.
Yeah, I know, it's great. Well, so getting to that, but I just got finished on Haley Joel Osment because I don't think this movie is known. And now there was a movie on Netflix called, I want to say it was called Sex Ed.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about because I remember watching the trailer for that one year and
being
like, "Holy shit, Haley Joel Osment!
Yes! Oh my God! Okay,
what are you doing in this movie?"
But did you?
I never saw the movie.
Oh,
I saw the trailer. I have never seen the movie.
Oh my God! I just got so excited that I hit the mic. I was rolling in the chair to get. Oh, okay. So that movie, sorry everybody about the mic being hit by me. That movie is about Haley Joel Osment being a sex ed teacher. And and he's never had sex. He is a virgin. So,
which honestly, if you were going to be this is the movie we're going to make Haley Joel Osment do in his 20s, I hear that and I go, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Of course.
So that is just a good that is good movie irony right there, you know? And I remember sitting at school and I'm like, I got nothing to do. I'm going to watch this weird movie with Haley Joel Osment. And I just remember sitting, watching it on my computer and being like, this is fantastic and the world needs to know about it. And I don't think the world knows about it, which makes me sad. So I'm changing that now. People go watch Sex Ed with Haley Joel Osment.
It came out during the renaissance of indie comedy and indie film in general, the early 2000s, early 2010s. There's indie comedies coming out left and right, and every one of them was here's our one star that's going to get everybody out, and just Haley Joel Osment just didn't grab people the way they thought it would.
Yeah, but it's just it's so funny, and it has a lot of heart in it too. It surprised me. It seemed very much surprised me.
I remember watching that trailer and be like, oh, this is a feel good, perfect comedy for him to come out and be like, I'm an adult, but also I'm still doing sweet things.
Yes.
This isn't as saccharine as fucking Pay It Forward.
Yeah, I just and now there's that show on Netflix that's called Sex Ed, and I'm like, I get excited because I'm like, oh, it's the movie, and I'm like, no, it's just a TV show. Never mind.
But it's got Gillian Anderson, which I haven't watched yet. But I mean, it does have Gillian Anderson.
Yeah. But no one plays jazz oboe. in it. I'm betting you. And guess who plays jazz oboe in Sex Ed the movie?
Oh my god.
Haley Joel freaking Osment.
I feel like, did they think that was going to be as cool as John Cusack playing like saxophone and
I don't know. But as a past oboist, let me tell you, it made me real happy that he played jazz oboe. It like hit home. I was like, yes.
Man.
Beautiful. It was so good. But that that brings us to one.
Is it a segue or a segsway? Like attorneys general?
Oh my god. But no, the reason why I was thinking about Haley Joel Osment this morning was because I was thinking about Glass, and all of that, because I have seen Glass.
So I have not seen Split, and I have not seen Unbreakable in many years, though.
So I haven't seen either. I've never seen either. Yeah.
Just very quickly for I don't know, it's been a couple of months since I've plugged another podcast, so I'm going to do this. The people over at Waypoint from Vice have started a new podcast called Be Kind and Rewatch It. It was part of the Waypoint radio feed for a while, but it's actually its own thing now. So if you just search that, you'll find it where they do. And you'll love this. They watched all of the Purge movies.
Yes.
So and broke them down, which is like great conversation about that. But they just did Unbreakable because Glass is coming out. They just did Unbreakable and they're going to do Split. So like, if you still haven't decided you're not going to watch Unbreakable, but you want to kind of know about it, that's a good breakdown of it from like a couple of different perspectives, which is great. So yeah, there's that. I have not watched Unbreakable in many years.
Yeah. So I want to spoil things, but I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is, I thoroughly enjoyed Glass.
Okay, so this was the question I had, because whereas Unbreakable and Split are largely separate movies. Unbreakable came out with no expectation of having sequels, so it's its own thing. And then Split comes out 16 years later and is a secret sequel to Unbreakable. Like, I don't think it's even the twist of the movie. I think it's like something that comes up very randomly at the end. Like, I don't think it's even part of the actual main story of it. It's just like, oh, by the way, this is happening in Unbreakable universe.
Yeah.
So Glass very much feels like it was written in specifically to be a sequel to these two movies. So the fact that you're saying it works on its own.
Yeah, it does, which is crazy. Which I like going into it. I was very nervous because I never knew. Like, I've heard of Unbreakable, but I never knew what it was about really. And I had never seen it, right? So then. And I was like, oh, it's a movie. I'm sure I'll see it eventually. Whatever. But when Glass came out, and like I was, I follow James McAvoy on Instagram and stuff. So like I see him posting pictures of him as the Split character. I'm like, oh, that's weird. They're doing another Split movie. Okay, cool. And I had never seen Split because I was having like mixed feelings about it, because I was like really interested to see it for the multiple personality, like the DID stuff, because I had done a project on it, and like I got like real deep into that, that whole thing of dissociative identity disorder and all of that. Like, so that part really interested me, but it was again like, it's a scary movie. I want to watch it in the comfort of my home.
Yeah, I mean, luckily M. Night Shyamalan is not generally a gory filmmaker, and so like that's always like a good way to kind of do that. But he's also gone back and forth with people loving his movies over the years. So like, I don't think there was anybody that saw Split coming out and went, oh no, this has to be the movie I go see. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise when they went, oh my God, M. Night might be back.
Like... So I was like, oh, Glass might be interesting. It's got three actors who I love, like absolutely love. And
I don't understand how he still has the clout to get people to be in his movies, but he has never, like, the one thing he's always done is had a very good track record for like amazing acters in his films.
Because people know his name. It's because people know his name that he's able to be like, yeah, hey, I need you. And people, despite what people say, people go see his movies. Like, it happens. You know?
True. I think funny enough, I don't think he had a big name for Avatar, but also I don't think anybody wants to remember they were associated with
Hey,
Avatar in
you
any
know
way.
what? I was also going to bring up Avatar and say that unsung opinion, very non-popular opinion, I don't hate that movie.
I respect the cartoon
not,
too much.
not James Cameron Avatar. In
No,
case you're like getting
sorry.
confused.
Yes, we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. M Night
Avatar: The Last
Shyamalan
Airbender.
tried to adapt the first
Yeah, it's not
season
good.
into one movie. No, I mean for all of its big reasons, like the entire cast is kind of whitewashed.
Oh yeah,
and it's like a bunch, it's like so much that he tried to condense into one movie, which should have been like its own trilogy, let alone the fact that it should have been 9 movies to encompass that entire series.
Yeah,
I just have never gone out of my way to bother. Now,
have you never seen it or?
Nope.
Really?
I've watched the cartoon enough. I'd have never felt a need to watch
Whoa!
Shyamalan's Last Airbender. I just haven't.
Wow.
I don't feel any necessity to watch it. I have not been given any reason to think that I would get anything out of it.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Hold on. We're going to come back to that because I was going to talk about Avatar a little bit today. But yeah, no, the cool thing about Glass was having known nothing except for what I needed to know, right? About Unbreakable. I knew about Split because I knew what the character was and based on the trailers and stuff. But Devin was basically like, yeah, Unbreakable, and actually, it wasn't even. I don't even think Devin told me. This guy in line while we were waiting to go see the movie, he was like, basically, Bruce Willis can't break any bones, and Samuel L. Jackson can break all of his bones if you.
Which you learn literally in the first 20 minutes of that movie.
Yes,
that is not the twist to that movie, which I think was why Unbreakable, when it first, I mean, even now, but when it first came out, like that was the thing that I think blew people away was that M. Night was very good at the beginning of throwing the twist, what people thought was the twist out, so that when the actual twist came, it threw them off. Like Sixth Sense, in the trailer, it's I see dead people, and everybody went, "Oh my God, he sees dead people," and so no one knows what the rest of that story is. And so Unbreakable, it was, in the first openings of that movie that Samuel L. Jackson's character, his bones are so brittle that he was bullied and dubbed Mr. Glass.
Yep.
And Bruce Willis is for some reason basically fucking Superman, but like really depressed, bad kind of shitty dude Superman. That's all you need to know.
And it was like, and I also think I got all of that. Like I got a lot of that. Like Devin like mentioned stuff about that, and he kind of gave me what I needed to know. And then I also got a lot of it from the trailers. So I was like, cool. Okay, I am going into Glass with as much knowledge as I need to go into Glass and enjoy it. But I'm still nervous because Civil War sucked. And here, and the reason why I bring up Civil War is because my mom was like really into seeing Civil War, Avengers, Civil War, not Age of Ultron. What the hell? Captain America Civil War? Is it Captain America Civil War?
It's Captain America Civil War, which has been the lead up to Age of Ultron.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but my mom was so excited to go see Civil War that like she was just like, yes, I want to go with you when you guys go see it. And she hated it. She didn't enjoy it. I think she liked parts of it, but she didn't enjoy it because she had no idea what was going on. Like the Avenger movies, like,
do not take the time to reintroduce characters.
They just assume they like basically use their popularity to assume that everybody has seen the prior movies, which at this point in the game, probably something you should do. Although my parents, both of my mom and my dad watched Infinity War and they both loved it.
Which, by the way, random side note, my brother and I randomly CJ and I got a text from our father this weekend because he finally sat down and watched Infinity War since it's out on Netflix now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we just get a text that says, "Professor Hulk and Kang the Conqueror." We're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's so good.
And it was like another 3 hours before he finally texted back. It was like, I'm watching the trailer for Endgame. We just watched Infinity War. It's gonna be Professor Hulk and King the Conqueror. What do you? Oh, sure. Where is this coming?
That's so funny. Oh my god. But like, Infinity War did a really good job of being like, here are the players. Here's what's at stake. You know everything you need to know. Enjoy the movie. Like, my dad hasn't. I don't think he's seen any of the other Marvel movies except for like maybe the Iron Man movies and maybe Avengers. But like, Civil War really like broke itself by being like, everybody knows what's going on. We're just gonna dump them into this.
And I think that Infinity War learned that lesson is probably a big part of that.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And because I am confident being like, oh, you've never seen a Marvel movie? This is the only Marvel movie you need to see. Here's Infinity War. You know, like, well, and you should see Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok, but Infinity War
Oscar-nominated Black Panther.
And Ant-Man.
So happy they.
Me too. I mean, I'm so happy about that.
As much as I don't think it's going to win, it's going to be the Fury Road this year, where it got nominated. Everybody goes, "Oh my god, it got nominated!" and then nothing. I just like the fact that they like couch their bullshit. Like, no more popularity category. We just fucking give Black Panther the best picture nom.
Exactly.
You idiots.
But no, Glass like did that very well. It was like, you know what, we need to make this movie because people are probably shitting themselves realizing that this is now a trilogy. First of all, second of all, we just need to make it enjoyable for everybody. And it was done really, really well. And like it not to give too much away, like, it does flashbacks to the other two movies. It gives you those explanations that would have happened in those movies. And it has this really cool twist at the end that it's like, oh my god, where it's like, that twist isn't lost on you if you haven't seen Unbreakable or Split. Like, you're still so invested in these characters with everything that you've learned and everything about the people who are connected to them, that you're there and ready for what happens. And it's so good.
That makes me so happy to hear, because I always have been like I've not even secretly, but I mean, I've always rooted for M. Night Shyamalan, even through the Avatar stuff and The Happening. I'm someone who, I saw Lady in the Water in theaters, and I have yet to sit back down and watch it again, and I'm still convinced that I absolutely love that movie. I refuse to go back and watch it and prove myself wrong. I've always secretly like rooted for M. Night Shyamalan, because I think that he is someone who came out of the gate very strong, obviously, with Sixth Sense, and also he wrote Stuart Little, and Secret, and I guess Ghost wrote She's All That, although the guy who's credited with writing She's All That refuses to acknowledge it. But M. Night Shyamalan keeps telling everybody that he ghost wrote She's All That.
Who do you believe?
But I mean, like, he comes out strong with Sixth Sense. Unbreakable is great. Signs is still like, I still really like Signs. I know that some people like go back and forth on it. I actually can I go into my Signs thing real quick?
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
The biggest complaint that comes up with Signs for people, that the biggest plot hole that everybody likes to point out, is why did they come to a planet that's 70% water if they're allergic to water? And what I say is, maybe they didn't fucking know that they were allergic to water till they showed up. There is
That's a really good argument for a movie I've never seen, but like, really good argument.
There's no invasion, like giant invasion in Signs. There's like 5 aliens. You see them in the backgrounds of videos, and like one of them shows up on the farm and all this stuff. And so like, what it sounds like is that these things showed up on Earth and didn't know that they were allergic to water, because maybe they come from a planet that doesn't have water. So like, they show, like, this is like, it's like a fucking scouting mission. Like there's no indication.
Sense.
Right, there's no indication that this is like some sort of mass invasion. It's just like, these things showed up, and then it turns out water kills them. Okay, cool. Like, then I guess they're not gonna invade the fucking planet then, because they figured it out. Like, it's this idea that like, we're gonna go to like Mars someday, and like we know from Mars what we can and can't breathe and eat and all that shit.
Yeah.
But like if we randomly sent fucking humans across to another galaxy and sent them to a planet, we don't know what the hell's out there.
No.
Let them just accept the fact that maybe they just didn't know. People, come on.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's a really good argument.
I mean, to be fair, I have to rewatch Signs. Maybe there's more aliens than I remember.
That's an argument people have about that movie?
Yes, it's a big argument that it's like a whole thing that like, first off, it also is like a whole thing that you've got a Mel Gibson movie that involves God, basically like setting up fate so that the humans can defeat the aliens with the one thing that they're allergic to. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing that I think is like a fascinating sci-fi and religious story. But yes, it turns out that the aliens are basically disintegrate when they get wet. And so like ever since that movie came out, people are like, well, why'd they come to a planet that's 70% water? And it's like, we never once hear the aliens talk. We don't know if they knew the planet was 70% water before they landed. And there's obviously not like a ton of them because they're not all over the place. So like,
look at you fixing
don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about movies. That. I can't fix The Happening no matter how much I try.
Oh my God.
But like, I think what happened was that like he hits big with Sixth Sense, he hits big with Unbreakable, Signs is huge, and then The Village comes out and starts to waver.
Yeah.
I love The Village, but I understand why people don't like The Village and all of that. And I think what happened was at some point he hit that like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. I have to stop listening to people now thing. And I think he got kind of too big into his own head. And I think after The Village wavered, and then The Happening was bad, and then Airbender was bad, and Lady in the Water was mixed. And
seen Airbender.
I refuse to believe it's a good movie. But like it's the fact that he has a series of flops after all these hits. And I think now like he did a movie called The Visit, which is like a found footage horror movie, which I also have not seen, but I have heard mixed things on, but was like the first indication that he might be like figuring his shit out because it's low budget and he's, it doesn't sound like he's kind of overdoing himself again. And then he produced that Devil Elevator movie.
Oh yeah, Devil. It's not Devil May Cry. It's not Devil May Cry. It's like Drag Me to Hell or something.
No. Drag Me to Hell is Sam Raimi. I think it's literally called Devil, but like they're all trapped.
Yes, it is called Devil. I don't know why I get those confused.
I think he wrote and produced that, but didn't direct it. So that was another indication that he was like, I can't like fully bring myself back. And then it's split where he finally is like, no, I'm back to me now.
Yeah.
And I think he's in a part in his life and a point in his career where he gets to be like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back, and I learned my lesson, and I'm figuring it out. And so I'm excited to see what he does now that he's done Glass in all of this. Like where he goes from here is going to be fascinating because I don't know if he's figured it out or not.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to see Glass and hear what, because like I don't really have an opinion of M. Night Shyamalan, or I just like saying Shyamalama ding dong or whatever. I don't know, because that's what everybody says. No, I don't like have like anger or love for M. Night Shyamalan. It's just he's just another director. But like yes, I understand that people are upset with him because of movies like Avatar, Last Airbender, and because of all of these movies that apparently are terrible that I've never seen. But it's like, so of course I can't weigh any beer. Like as far as I'm concerned, M. Night Shyamalan is a good director because he was able to create Glass. He was able to make Glass.
Yeah, so... I mean the biggest problem with The Happening is that he tried to make Mark Wahlberg into a science teacher, which was never going to happen.
So oh my God, maybe I need to go back through Shyamalan's like.
Oh my God, we should. It's gonna
filmography
be so
and
weird.
Like watch them all. But the thing I want to talk about Avatar, just Avatar in general.
Yes.
Last
Okay.
Airbender.
So you defend Avatar to me because I have not been convinced to watch this movie.
It's not
so you tell me what you're thinking with this movie.
It's not that I'm going to defend it. Basically, okay, I have been like slightly on an Avatar kick for the past week or so. And it started with me finding the Azula Pop figure because Funko has come out with the Avatar line of pops. And I am totally going to buy into it because of how much I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. But the Azula one was like a GameStop exclusive. So I was able to go find her, and like it just like flooded my brain with all of these memories of Avatar. And like all of these things that I remember from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I am still convinced that it's kind of like with Digimon, where I don't think I've seen every single episode of Last Airbender. I've seen bits and pieces. I know what happens, but I don't think I've seen every episode. But like, I was explaining who Azula was to my mom, and like, then my mom was talking to Devin, because Devin never really watched it. She was like, oh yeah, Azula can use lightning. And then Devin texted me, he's like, can Azula use lightning? And I was like, yes, she can. She's
it's like a whole
super
thing
powerful.
It's like a whole thing that
scary.
he can't. Zuko can't.
Yeah. Well, she also like she's like one of the strongest firebenders in the world because she can use blue fire and she can control lightning. It's like it's like just like harnessing kind of. It's like generating and harnessing. It's weird. It's crazy. And it goes down a rabbit hole that I myself have gone down to figure out, and it's like this bending circle of like, if you can figure out the 4 core elements, you can figure out all of this stuff too. And that's where like blood bending comes from. That's where like ice bending and snow bending, and there's like combustion bending and sound bending. It's where metal bending comes from. Like, it's crazy. So like I went down this whole hole of Avatar again that like comes up every now and then for me. And I saw that Avatar: The Last Airbender movie was on Hulu, and I like threw it on to fall asleep to. And like I'm watching the opening, and it's when, Katara and Sokka find Aang in the iceberg, and the thing I am going to defend in Avatar: The Last Airbender movie is the effects and the visual stuff. The movie's crap. I will. the movie is not good. That was a really long-winded explanation to get to that.
To get to. Oh, by the way, bad movie, but
it is. But I will watch it for the effects.
Remember, like Nickelodeon wanted to put the money behind it, and M. Night again was still pretty much at the top-ish of his game. Like this was I think a thing where he was like, well, Happening and Lady in the Water weren't that great, but I can still bring it back if I do this beloved franchise. Yeah. But like,
but no, I mean,
some of the choices they made.
Like I remember being so excited to go see Avatar in the theater, and I remember seeing it in the theater. And I remember being really, really happy, except every time they called him Aang instead of Aang.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is that like, I don't know if I could make it through a whole movie dealing with that.
Sokka was like Soka or Suka. Like it was like little things like that are what made it terrible. But I mean the whitewash all of that. We could get into that another time. And we probably should get into that when the live-action Netflix show comes out.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes, because it is one of the original, at least one, if not both of the original creators
I believe
are.
It's both. If what I saw today is true, it's both.
Yeah, are behind that. So like, hopefully they are also like on top of casting and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're smart. Especially because they're RISD grads, and I like the thing is that always made me like love Avatar the most. Wait. Yeah, the lead. Yeah, they're RISD grads. The people that created Avatar are RISD graduates.
What?
At least one of them, if not both of them. But yeah, that was the reason that I got into Avatar when they started promoting it on Nickelodeon, and they would do those like behind the scenes
Oh
things.
my god!
Like they would talk about how they went to Rhode Island School of Design, and I was like, I need to watch this for Rhode Island.
I never knew
So,
that.
oh yeah,
But oh my
yeah.
god, that just made Avatar that much better for me.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, like I will say in the trivia for the for the new Avatar, for the Netflix Avatar, there's 3 things of trivia for it so far. No casting, nothing, just 3 things of trivia and like a synopsis, like a brief synopsis. And one of the trivia things is the creators say that there will be no whitewashing. It will be like it will be correct.
Oh, good. Like I hope that means
Um
like I guess in Inuit actors
yeah.
for Katara and Sokka.
Yeah.
I would imagine that means
Yeah. So
and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting.
That's gonna be very, very interesting, and I hope it's true.
Yeah.
But no. Anyways, to go back to the movie, like I remember sitting in the theater, and you know when they get to the I think it's the Northern Water Tribe or the Southern I think it's the Northern Water Tribe.
They're from the Southern. They go to the Northern. Yes,
so they
I
go
do.
to the Northern Water Tribe. I did not expect to get into this. If you don't know about Avatar: The Last Airbender, I am sorry because I'm not going and I'm not describing it at this moment in time. Wait until we talk about it later on. But because we will, I promise. So they go to the Northern Water Tribe, and the whole thing is that they're stopping the Fire Nation. And there's that moment where Katara and the rest of the waterbenders like create this wall of water and ice, and like it's like scary, like it's crazy powerful what they're able to do. And then Aang is there to like kind of chop it in half, and he like separates everything. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, so when that happens in the movie, I remember being in the theater and just going, because it was so, so cool looking. And, like, I don't know if it's because of the young wonderment that was in my eyes or if it was actually cool. So I do need to rewatch it to see if that scene still gives me that, like, feeling of, like, oh my god, this is awesome. But I will say what holds up is Appa. I think Appa looks fantastic in the movie. Looks exactly what you would expect Appa to look like in real life. And the Fire Nation ships are like spot on. That's what I'm gonna say.
I mean, I have to imagine. I don't know about the original creators themselves, but I have to imagine that Nickelodeon was all over this thing.
Yeah.
Like, we need this thing to look good, but I also would not be surprised if it was like a couple of producers who are like, "Oh no, it needs to look good. Oh, what's the writing? I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
But tell me that it looks good."
But it did, like I said, it is a crap movie. I won't sit here and say it's a good movie, but I will watch it again because I like the effects and I like how they are able to bring that world to life. Just watch it on mute.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, his movies have never looked cheap or underproduced or low budget or anything like that. He has always been very good with the visuals, and like, you know, a lot of his stuff is more fairly relatively grounded in reality, quote unquote. So like, he doesn't need that much of a budget when it really comes down to it. But you know, I will always give him that. Like, again, another reason I'm afraid to go back and watch Lady in the Water is there's some early 2000s CGI stuff going on in that movie that I cannot imagine holds up anymore. But like, even Unbreakable was made right before the first X-Men movie came out. So that's before Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a movie. Unbreakable is a comic book, quote unquote, comic book superhero movie that is more about the idea that comic book movies should be more respected than they are.
Yeah.
So they are from before the like comic book movie renaissance of the early 2000s came out. And they're much more like based on like Blade and
I love Blade.
yeah, like and Blade No, it's okay. I mean, like Blade and all these other like comic book movies that are coming out throughout like the late '90s and going into 2000, where like people were like, "Oh, I bought this property for cheap because no one knows who these characters are,
Yeah.
and no one even knows it's a comic book movie, and so we can do whatever the hell we want with it." And then, like, very much what like Jay and Silent Bob was about as well. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back
Yeah,
weirdly
okay.
shares some themes with
That's true.
Unbreakable. And so when M. Night Shyamalan wrote Unbreakable, he was like, well, what if I told a more like realistic superhero story that was like more dramatic and you had all of these more grounded things going on, and I could show you that human beings as superheroes is the way of the future. And he wasn't wrong, was the thing, because we got like that's where Batman Begins comes from, and that's where I mean a lot of X-Men got its early shit from, was like, oh no, we need to show these characters as like gritty, real human beings that have this, this mutant gene that really makes their lives difficult and all of this stuff. So he like predicted this weird whole thing that where superhero stories were going to go, but he did but then he also then went and made The Happening. And he just kind of lost the plot at some point.
Oh god. Oh man. That's so funny.
Okay, we've been going forever because we did actually did have to restart this episode. So I think that's gonna be it. Unless there's anything. Yeah, that's it for you.
Good. Yeah.
The only thing for me is I finally one of these I finished Smallville. I cannot believe I watched a 10-season show in like 3 months, but I did it.
Yay!
And it's good.
Yay,
and people go back and watch Smallville. I cannot, especially if you're like an Arrowverse fan, I cannot stress how much like it is weird to watch that production of that show and see where they went. Like the first 3 seasons, they had a very clear idea what they were doing. And then season 4, they were like, oh crap, we got more seasons than we expected. We don't know what we're doing. And then toward the last like 3 seasons, 8, 9, and 10 are really solid, just like comic book television. Very much like proto Arrowverse stuff. I cannot believe I liked it as much as I did because it gets goofy as hell. The 10th season has a hangover episode.
Oh my god.
They have a literal episode that is The Hangover, where they are doing Clark's bachelor party for Lois Lane. And they all wake up and don't remember what the fuck happened. And it is nothing is funnier than watching a hungover Superman. I didn't know I would find that funny until I watched Clark Kent try to super speed away and he ran into a wall by accident. He's like, I got this. And he turns around and you get a very quick split-second shot of the speed effect. And then he hits a wall and the wall explodes and he just tumbles into the street. And it is the funniest shot in 10 seasons of television. That is the funniest shot of the whole show.
That's so fun. Oh, that's fantastic.
So, yeah. So Smallville was great. And I started watching Adam Ruins Everything on Netflix, which is this funny like edutainment show. It's like know-it-all, here's all the facts, edutainment stuff.
Yeah,
but I'll probably get to that.
Watch it in college.
Yeah, it's up on Netflix now. Like the first there's like 20 episodes or something, and also love that. So go watch that, everybody.
Oh, if we're making Netflix suggestions,
yes,
watch The Fix, which is The Fix. Yes, it is Jimmy Carr as the host, D.L. Hughley, and Catherine Ryan, and then like there's 2 other like comedians that are always different every episode. It is so good. They basically try to come up with quote unquote fixes for the world's problems in 30 minutes.
Beautiful.
And they actually use like they bring in a data specialist, like they bring in real data, they have all these real facts and everything. Like I have learned a lot from it. And it is hilarious, and I think everybody should watch it.
There you go. There's our recommendations for this week, everybody. We'll be back next week in some form or fashion. Well, I have to, without getting into a ton of detail, I'm moving back to Rhode Island, so this show is going to change. It's going to change a little bit when I get back, because we might actually see each other in real life.
It's going to be weird.
But until then.
You've always just been this spot on a wall for me. Sorry.
You still look like Donatello. So
yeah.
Is it Donatello?
Yeah, I'm a baby Donatello.
Okay, thank God. I thought I had the wrong turtle for a second.
I need you to know, behind the curtain of Say Report Jr., I don't look at the computer screen when we record. I look at a wall.
I mean, my computer screen is my giant TV. I'm literally just pacing in front of a giant desktop.
A giant baby Donatello.
Yep. But it's... You can always find us on Twitter at sayreportjr. You can find us on YouTube at sayreportjr. And you can find us individually. I am at Zerwisky.
And I am at Dale's Brain, and that is on Twitter. I don't think we mentioned.
Did I not say that part?
Whoops. You can find us on Twitter at those names. No, you might have. I don't know. I'm just being a jerk.
I think I said Twitter for Say Report Jr.
And then you would, yeah.
Fine.
It's fine. This is a crazy episode.
Oh man.
I think it's time for us all to go get ice cream.
Yes, be good humans. Take it away, Liz.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for the Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.